you've met these parents, you've covered them. What was your reaction to how intense it was and how upset they were at this plea deal?
I mean, the Gonzalves family is furious. Steve Gonzalves, and I've had run-ins with him. We don't always necessarily get along, but my heart goes out to him. I mean, this was a man who said after the murders, you send your daughter off to college and she comes back to you in a box. You know, no parent should have to go through this. That was part of the reasons why I got involved in this case, why I first was interested. I sent 3 kids off to college. I worried about it. And he refused to let law enforcement handle things. He became his own sort of detective. He was going to get to the bottom of things. He became a character out of literature, Captain Ahab, who was obsessed with this white whale of finding what really, really happened. And then when he finally gets what he feels is the right man, when he's gone off, he's hired private investigators. He's criticized law enforcement for their investigations. He finally gets to the point where the trial is just going to start within a matter of weeks. Well, they pull the box he's standing on out from under him. He falls to the ground in effect, and they say, too bad, we're cutting a plea deal. And they don't really even consult with him. He gets an email telling him that the deal is done, that it's a fait accompli. And his victimization, his family's victimization continues and continues and continues. Ultimately, you know, a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, this will still be a story, a tragedy about victims.
Where does the responsibility lie? Is it solely on the prosecution in the state or the county? Because they want to convict this man. They want to put him behind bars. That's the idea. It's not like the ultimate goal to always put someone to death. First, you got to convict him. So how much say should the family have? I know they didn't have a lot, but is this abnormal where they didn't consult with the family? Plus you have 4 families, so you have to get a consensus or something. But ultimately, the goal is to lock this creep up forever.
Well, the goal is to get some sort of justice within the law. The goal is to be faithful to the law. And I think part of the problem was that the families were in disagreement. The Chapin family, I think, supports a plea deal. Zenner and Kaylee's parents are against it. And also because the Gonzalves family has from the beginning been so elbows out, so antagonistic to law enforcement, to the prosecutors, to criticizing them at every turn. I think they said, well, we don't want to have to deal with them, basically. We'll just make what we think is right. However, what disturbs me as a citizen, you know, the reason that government exists is supposed to protect the individuals, the people. You know, that's why states came into being, to protect the individuals. I don't think that the state did the right thing for the victims and for their families. They did have a responsibility to them to take this further, especially after they spent 2.5 years and how many millions of dollars building their case. And they built a really firm case, a really convincing case, enough so that the Kohberger team was figuring that they were going to lose. Yeah. And I believe that the prosecution should have had the nerve, the will, and the responsibility to the citizens of Idaho to take this forward.
Howard, the thing is, you know, a lot of emotion, obviously, when these parents got the news about the plea, but man, to have to live through a trial too, because this would have been going on for months and then replayed on the news at night and in the paper in the morning and online and everything, and having to hear about the crime again and again and see the crime scene photos. I know they've probably come to grips with how horrific it is, or it was as a parent, but man, part of me is thinking, man, at least you don't have to go through with that. And I know the families were a little bit divided. Maybe some felt that, you know, we've had enough. We want to move on somehow. Is that the sense that you got?
Well, they were divided, but the reality is these families are never going to move on. These families are victims as much as their children. Their lives are ruined. Maybe they will live longer, but their lives will be a shell of what they once were. And there'll be a before and after in their lives, and the before is everything that happened before November 13th, 2022, and after is everything that's happened since that date. These are different people, and I think it all comes back to what is the responsibility of the state What is the responsibility of the state, not just to these families, but to all the citizens of Idaho, to take this case to trial, to try to get to the bottom of things, to find out what really happened.